And I have some ice here in the bowl. Here. And also when you are going to buy your shrimp, what you need to do is to buy like the bag ice here. And you need to buy, you can use like a foam cooler or anything, a container. But this is better because the ice don't melt fast. And you put shrimps in here and put the ice on the shrimp. That way they won't go bad while you're driving home, because they go bad real fast. They go bad real fast. And this here is for the shrimp heads. Put an ice in it. Okay, and this here, this is for the peeled shrimp here, for the heads here. I'm gonna put this bag over this. Put this bag here. That's for the heads. And when you first buy your shrimp from the seafood market, you can market and buy this, stick your foam chest, and just set the whole bag in there, your shrimp, your crabs. Buy a bag of ice. And here's the ice that I had, and I had poured half over it because they go bad real fast, especially if you have extra shopping to do. You can buy this bag and put it over your seafood. That way it won't spoil. But it will spoil fast for you. Okay, here I have the your crabs, and you can let these soak in cold water, and you don't have to let them soak at all. They were frozen, but they thaw out really, really quick. And you want to lift this up here. And you take that off. That's trash. Trash it. And you can break it in half. And you clean out some of the little mess here. Well, Walmart crabs don't be having nothing in them. No meat. No crabs from Walmart. Girl. You gotta go to Walmart for that, huh? No crabs from Walmart. You put some more. To move that out. Make sure you don't pull all of the meat out. Just get the little yellow looking stuff out. I'll put some ice, some more in it. It's the female here. And with your crabs and shrimp, you can keep those frozen until like maybe when you start your gumbo, then you can transfer it to the refrigerator, but keep these crabs and shrimp frozen. Okay, this is the male here. Okay, get him. will never again go to Walmart to get more crabs. It will always be the seafood place from now on. These came from the seafood mart in Louisiana, but I had brought a bag from Walmart, and I don't like Walmart crabs. I will never again buy them. Never. It's really honestly like a waste of your money. Look, that's all they give you is these. See how many they have. 1, 2, 3 crabs. But the seafood mart gives you 6, gives you 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You get 6.
I make some sandwiches.
Let them soak so they can thaw out. Okay, here we go. All of the crabs, they are done, clean. And I have some here, and I had to use this bag here. I put some back in here, and I am making a very large pot. I'm gonna have lots of people over, so, and you know, gumbo is the main meal down in South Louisiana. You can put these back in the freezer. Don't put this in the fridge. Put these in the freezer. Okay, y'all. Today I am prepping, and I'm running a day late because honestly, I usually prep on a Sunday, and today is Monday. I'm getting ready to cut up my seasoning, and this here is all of my meat I took out. I'm just letting it thaw out. Here, I have my links, sausage links, my turkey wings. My turkey is still, I put it back in the fridge because I had that out, thawing out already. So I'm going to leave this out for a while, and then I'm going to put it back in the refrigerator. I pulled it out. I pulled it out of the freezer last night, but I put it in the refrigerator because I didn't want to leave it out all night. So I just took it out now, and I'm just gonna leave it sit until I get ready to leave for work. I work at night, so I'll put it in right before I leave for work. I have my bell peppers here as well, and my green onion. But let me tell you real quick with these bell peppers, this should be the last thing you pick up in the store, and when you get home, don't leave these in the bag. I always take my bell peppers out and I lay them across the table. I just take them out because if you leave them in a bag, they're gonna sweat, you know, and that's when they go bad really fast. You know, if they sweat, they're gonna go bad fast. So, and as well as your green onion, you know, I take my green onion out of the bag and I set those in the fridge. But as far as your bell peppers, you can take them out and leave them out. Don't leave it in the fridge. You know, just leave it sitting out on the counter or anywhere. Okay, here I have my cold water, and after you cut the filling off, you just place this in cold water. Put all of your onion in the cold water before you slice it, and this will help minimize the burning with your eye. Or you can simply dig the middle out, but not doing that. So while this sit in the water, I just start on the bell peppers. And once I'm done with the bell peppers, then I take and I finish doing the onions. One for my onion, one for the bell peppers. I don't like to put them together because I always fry them separately. Everything here. I have the garlics, and all of the onion and bell peppers here. Everything is labeled and separated and ready. So the only thing I didn't cut was the green onion, and the reason I didn't cut that is because it'll sweat too bad. So that's easy to cut. I'll just cut that when I'm ready to use it. Okay, parsley here. I'm just getting some leaves off. I don't want the stems, just the leaves. Okay guys, now this here is gonna be what I'll be mixing together for my turkey rub. You know, you can use this on your turkey wings as well as your turkey. And y'all, I use the mask doing this, especially when you start to stir this up. You want to put on a mask, but I put on my mask at the beginning when I first started pouring the seasoning, because I don't want to be sneezing all over the food. So I advise you, when you're making all of your seasonings for your turkey and everything, just put on a mask. And guys, let me let you know about these spices. This smoked paprika and the paprika. Now the paprika gives it a good color, but the smoked paprika, it will change your flavor. And you don't want to forget your sage. I mean, that's everything. That's the smell, the taste, everything. Okay, y'all, these here, this is the turkey wings. I went to the meat market to get these, and I got them cut up. You can leave them whole if you want, but you know, if you get them cut up, you'll have enough to go around for everyone, because they are so big, and it really honestly doesn't make sense to leave them that big. You can have enough to go around for everyone. So I'm just gonna start off with the butter. Basically, I just put this butter all around it. Okay, and here I have some fresh parsley. You can use flakes as well. I'm probably gonna use some flakes too towards the end, but I just wanted to put some fresh parsley in there. Okay, I'm just gonna add more seasonings on the top, just to make sure that I have enough. Honestly, you can add the seasoning of your choice. You know, I'm adding a little more of everything. Smoked paprika. One thing you want to keep in mind about the smoked paprika, it will change the flavor a little, but as far as the paprika, it's just gonna give it a little color. So that's the reason I use it. But add the seasoning of your choice. It's without adding water or anything. You take and you put this in the oven. I did add another small piece of butter at the top. It won't hurt anything. But what you do is you just put this in the oven without any water or anything on it. Maybe for about 15 minutes. You know, make sure your oven is preheated, and you know, set this, you know, put it in there with no cover, no water, about 15 minutes. And what it's gonna do is have the seasoning and everything stick to your turkey wings. This is for my cornbread dressing. Okay, what you want to do is you pull your skin off first. Yes, pull your skin off. Make sure it's all off. And everyone fix their stuff in different. Some people put shrimp in theirs. It just depends on what you want to put in it. There's no right and no wrong way to doing it. Okay, all of the skin is removed and chicken is cleaned. So what I'm going to do now is just put this in the pot of water and boil it. Okay, now what I'm putting on here, it's going to be the legs here. Just gonna boil these. Okay. I have my little handy dandy seasoning here. Put a little salt, just a little. I have all my seasoning sitting here. I like to leave it out. Okay, in this pot here, we're gonna put the gizzards on. And you wanna boil these gizzards. Make sure you boil them really, really well because they need to be really tender when you start. I always boil them first and then I cut them up in really fine pieces. And here's my potatoes. I'm just gonna start. Okay, here it is, and they're brown. Now what you're gonna do now is add some water. You can just add a little water. All through. You don't really have to add that much because it really makes a lot of water itself. Okay, now I'm going to add the turkey gravy pack here. So and this is the Southern Mills turkey. So, and then I'll go through for a little flavor. Some garlic, onion powder. You don't have to get your turkey again. Just get the juice around it to flavor the juice. Tony says, Sheree. Just using a very little salt. Okay, now we can add the onion. Okay, here we have some fresh garlic. Okay, we have the bell peppers here. And here we have fresh parsley. Okay, we're just gonna cover it back up. This is how we test the potatoes. You know, you can pick them up and you can either stick the knife through or just slice it. And it's done. Like, they're done. We can start pulling them out. So you can just strain them. Yeah, see, like it was still a little. You can also cut your potatoes in half. You don't have to put them in here whole, like a whole potato. When you first put them in, you can, you know, you have that option to cut it in half. And it will probably lessen the time also if you cut it in half, you know. But they are pretty much done. So okay, now go ahead and get your strainer and you can strain these. Okay, y'all. Okay, now I'm gonna do we're gonna do the onion, caramelize these down, and this is gonna be for the cornbread dressing as well as the stuffed peppers. this one here is gonna be for the cornbread dressing here. So I'm adding the onions first. And I have a lot of onions. I like a lot of onions. A lot. It's gonna caramelize down to hardly anything anyway, so. Yep. This here's the stuffing here. Cornbread dressing, but we always say stuffing. Okay, let these caramelize. I always let these cook first before cook a little. I let these simmer a little before I add in the bell peppers, and then I add the bell peppers and let it simmer, and then I add the garlic, because garlic will burn really fast. Okay, this one over here is a little slow. Okay. Okay, now I'm gonna add the bell peppers. You can go ahead on and add them now because the onions are caramelized a little. So go ahead on and add your peppers. Okay, let these go ahead on and simmer together. And I'll let it simmer a lot till it's almost like nothing. I'll let it simmer. This here will be for my stuffed peppers. That's why I'm using so much of this meat. But hey, and if it's too much, you can always freeze it. Okay, start your seasoning using Tony Sachet. Using my magic portrait season. I'm just taking some of the oils out here. And next I'll just take and just add a little more garlic. Not more garlic, but I'm just adding the garlic, and I always add the garlic last because the garlic tends to burn. So you always add the garlic towards the end. And here I'm just adding a little more butter, just a little. When I add some garlic, I always add a little more butter so it won't stick. And here I'm adding a little fresh parsley. If you don't have fresh parsley, you can go ahead on and use the flakes. Still a little hard right here. So how you do that is you just keep flipping. Okay, now you want to season this. You can season this a little bit heavy. Do that with the Creole seasoning, and this here is the Italian. A little dash garlic and herb. Dab of salt. I don't use that much salt at all. And nothing. Okay, we have onion powder. And garlic powder. Ground meat is a little hard to season, but you still have to be careful not to over season it, because that'll happen as well. You'll end up over seasoning it, trying to season it, because it is hard to season. Garlic powder. Go ahead on and let it fry. This turkey is so tender. It's falling off the bones. Alright. Okay guys, this here is going to be for our cornbread stuffing. And this year I am not doing the cornbread from scratch. I am going to use the box Jiffy. I mean, if you want to do yours from scratch, that's fine. I did mine from scratch last year. I really didn't like it. It changed the flavor too much. Okay, now I used about 7 boxes of Jiffy, and to that you can add a cup of sugar, some fresh parsley or dried parsley flakes, onion powder, garlic powder, seasoning salt. You can add a little pepper. Don't add too much pepper. You don't want your pepper to overpower all of the flavors. Don't be afraid to add your sugar because it will balance the taste out. Some people think it'll be sweet, but it won't. You have all of the seasonings mixed with the sugar and it's gonna balance all the flavors out. The cornbread, and it's all done. Okay, y'all, what I'm doing here is I'm taking the gizzards and I need to grind them up until they're really fine. You want to make sure they're really fine. It's tiny pieces, and you don't want any big huge pieces in your cornbread dressing. And I'm not just letting the blender run, I'm pausing it. You can see how I'm pausing it because I don't want it to run. I don't want it to be too watery. They're good. So now they are smaller. That's how you want them. You want them to be smaller. Okay. Let's get the first thing you put in the bowl, the gizzards. Right here, I'm just picking parts of the gristles that I see that's still stuck to the gizzards. Sometimes you think you have it all, but gizzards are really hard to get those gristles off. So if you see those gristles, just make sure you remove them. You don't want that in your food. Yes, I have my gloves on and I'm mashing my ground meat. I like my ground meat to be really, really, really fine. I like my uh, cornbread to be fine. I just like it all to blend in. That's why we call it stuffing. Because you want it all to blend. Just take and just blend it in. And even after I sit there and just mash this ground meat, once I mix it with the stuffing, I'm gonna do the same thing. Just mash it all in there. Okay, you can just crumble this up in here. You want to make sure it's crumbled. No big pieces. Okay, y'all, now I'm getting ready to bring my chicken in. I'm just adding in my chicken now. We just do the same thing. Go ahead on and just work it on in there. I like to use my hands so I can make sure I get down in there good. I'm sorry, but I can't get in there good with the spoon. If you want to sit there and use a spoon and try and stir, you just go home right on ahead. But I need to use my hands. That's why I put these gloves on and I go ahead on and I mix it in good. I get all up in there. Okay, here I'm just starting to add in my chicken broth. And I have these little cans here. These little cans don't really go far, so you have to make sure you have enough cans to go around. Okay, after you add your breadcrumbs in, you can go ahead on and mix it well again. Just make sure it's all mixed well in together with your meat and your cornbread. You just want to mix it well in there. Now this here is the broth from the chicken that I boiled. And I love to use that broth. I still do use the cans, but I love to use the broth that comes from the chicken. That is the best broth in the world. You can't go wrong with using that broth. So when you boil your chicken, you always hold on to that broth. Put it in the fridge once it cool down, because you can use that in your stuff. And as you can see, I don't pile it all at one time. I use little at a time, and I always do that. That's the way that I cook. I don't use everything at one time and pour it all at one time. I just season little at a time. I season as I go. I just use a little at a time. Okay, now one thing that you want to keep in mind, after you're done with your stuffing, you want to always cover it with foil. Don't just bake this stuffing in the oven without that foil, because your whole pan is going to be dried out. It's going to be too dry. You know, you always put your foil around it. I bake it for like an hour, and then after that hour, I usually pull it off and bake it for about 15 or 20 more minutes, just to get the top hard. You want the top hard and you want the inside nice and moist. I wouldn't say that you want it hard, but you want the top to be golden brown. Gonna saute the celery because I don't want it to be hard. I just like all of my stuff sauteed. I really should have put it in with the onions, but I didn't. It's okay. You know what? I'm not going to bore y'all with stuffing these things. I'll be back once they all are stuffed. Okay, now what you want to do next is sprinkle your breadcrumbs, over the top. You don't need that much. And I'm using the Italian again. These peppers are going to be so delicious, guys. What you want to do is you want to add the water to the bottom of the pan. Just be careful not to get some in your pepper. You don't want the water to get inside. Need that much water either, because the steam is going to help out when you cover it up. You're going to cover this up. It's going to help out with the steam. Get those peppers nice and tender. Some people boil their peppers first. I don't. I never boil my peppers. Because once you put them in the oven and cover it up, they'll be soft, nice and soft. Oh, it should have been a little longer, but it's okay. Maybe the steam could come from under that side right there. Okay, now what I'm doing here, these are my second pan of turkey wings, and I'm just cutting these in half so that I can have enough to go around for everyone. So they're kind of easy to cut, but you needed like a sharp knife to cut it. You can find the part in the middle where the bone is not sitting and just start cutting. And I brought these in a pack at Walmart, but if you can find a meat market that's willing to cut these, in half for you, that'll be much better than trying to cut it yourself. And I'm just gonna butter it everywhere. Right now I'm gonna use a little oil. You can use olive oil. This is grapeseed oil here that I'm using, just a little, so they can it can just help, you know, run it through easily. Sometimes I usually just go in just with a little dab more since it's been sprayed around. But what I usually do is I go ahead on and put this here in the oven just like this with no water, and you can put it in for about maybe 10-15 minutes. That way, what it's going to do is, before you add the water, everything is going to stick to the top. You know, it's going to stick. And you just, you know, make your gravy and pour it in now. And it's, you know, it have nothing to stick to. So when you put this in the oven just like this, with no water, no cover, for about, you can even do 15-20 minutes. Then you take it out, and here I have the turkey gravy mix. I had a little bit brown gravy mix left over, and I just mixed that with this too. So I'm gonna add some seasoning in it. Poultry seasoning. Seasoning over. Dash. Italian seasoning. Let's see, got some garlic powder. We have our onion powder here. So I'm just going to add some water in here. Yeah, I have some. This is the water here. And I also add a little bit cornstarch. And that just helps thicken it up just a little. Well, okay, here we go with the we have here the turkey wings, and I just took them from out of the oven. So I'm just gonna go ahead on and start adding the gravy mix. And you see, even you can see how I'm pouring the gravy even on top, and the seasoning is still, you know, on the turkey wing. Okay, now I'm just gonna add some some plain water. All right. Now once it starts to boil or whatever, you can taste it and see if you have enough seasoning. You know, taste your gravy to see if you have enough seasoning. But you have to wait. You can't taste it now because you won't taste anything. You taste it once it's hot. You know, once it's hot, that's when all of the flavors start to marinate through all of the gravy and stuff. But you can't taste cold food. One thing I always say, if your food is cold like this, you know, and you taste the salt in it, or you taste the seasoning, once you start to cook it, it's gonna be too much seasoning, because when the heat is gonna intensify the seasoning. So that's why you really can't taste your food. Oh, I forgot to add the onion. You really can't taste your food until after the seasoning. Okay, here I'm gonna just add okay, now I can cover it up. Always leave one side up a little just to let that heat escape. I think it bakes around 3-4 hours maybe. You want to just go ahead on, you can drop your potatoes in here. You want to get these real tender, not fork tender, but tender. These need to be really tender. And yes, I am making a lot. I have lots of people coming over, so yes, I do need a lot of them. So after, you're gonna take your salt. You can add salt in here. This is how we test the potatoes. You know, you can pick them up and you can either stick the knife through or just slice it, and it's done. Like, they're done. We can start pulling them out. So you can just strain them. Yeah, it seemed like it was still a little. You can also cut your potatoes in half. You don't have to put them in here whole, like a whole potato. When you first put them in, you can, you know, you have that option to cut it in half. And it will probably lessen the time also if you cut it in half, you know. But they are pretty much done. So potato salad. This is what I like to use. I like mine really fine. It gives it just the right size to me. It's just the right size to me. It's like almost like diced, small diced. And that's how I like mine. If you want yours bigger, by all means, dice them with a knife. But I like this here. There's no right and no wrong way. It's the way you like yours. Okay, now I have some onion here, and it's cut really thin. You know, you don't want your onion cut in big chunks. Put it in the food processor and cut it really thin. Okay. Now put celery. Not that much. You want that cut really thin as well. I don't put that much celery at all. But you can put a lot if you want. And add your parsley flakes. Alright, now y'all knew I was coming with these gloves. Y'all know I have to get on in there and get it done the right way. So y'all know I was gonna pull these gloves out. You don't want to over pepper it. Pepper can be very overpowering, so be careful with this pepper. Use a little garlic powder. Okay, now for the sweet potatoes, you want to check them. And you don't want them too soft. You want it fork tender. See, they're ready. Because what you're going to do is let them finish cooking in the oven. Okay, I gotta be careful. Let the water go down. Okay, be careful with this. This stuff is really hot. Yeah, you're gonna have to let these sit before you can even mess with them. Ooh, even the steam coming up is hot. Hot on your fingers. Okay guys, this here is fresh ginger. You can use the ground ginger if you don't have the fresh ginger, because I understand nowadays you have to just get what you can get in the supermarket, because they literally don't have nothing. But this fresh ginger, I'm telling you, it takes it to a whole new level. see that this pan just wasn't working out. So I had to swap pans. I had to get a bigger pan and pour my potatoes in the bigger pan so that we can have more room to work with. Okay, and I have some butter. I'm gonna put some sea salt, and I have some parsley flakes. Black pepper. Stir it around. And that's it. You put this in the rice cooker. Okay, you put this here in your cooker and press cook and don't stir. Just let it cook. Put this on. And one thing you need to keep in mind that as soon as it's done, it's gonna pop up here to warm. Don't leave that on warm. You need to take the rice out of the pot immediately because it's gonna continue to cook and it's gonna be very gummy towards the bottom. So you need to catch it in time and remove it out of the pot into another bowl or something. Okay, y'all, this here is for my my dirty rice or rice dressing, whatever you guys call it, Cajun rice, but we call it dirty rice here down south in New Orleans. So I'm just doing my mixture for my dirty rice, and I have a small pack of ground beef, and I'm gonna mix the Italian sauces with it, the mild Italian sauces. Okay, now make sure you break this up really good. But right now I'm going to add my seasoning. This is my Tony Sachet, and you can add the seasoning of your choice. But I pretty much use the same seasoning for everything. Tony Sachet, Slap Your Mama, Mrs. Dash, garlic and herb, onion powder, garlic powder, a little onion salt, garlic salt, just a dab of it. I use my parsley flakes and my fresh parsley flakes. I use a little dab of salt, a little dab of pepper, Italian seasoning, thyme leaves, and rosemary leaves. And you see this stuff here, this dressing mix, my daughter accidentally picked it up. I forgot what I sent her to the store for, and she accidentally picked this stuff up. So I decided to use a little in my dirty rice, and I'm telling you, it has such a good different flavor. It was so good, y'all. It was kind of spicy though. It was really good. So I'm glad that I decided to use it. I found something new that I can get every year to use now. Okay, y'all, now I'm just gonna add my green onion. Y'all know I love a lot of green onion and onion. I just love a lot of it. And it really cooks down to barely anything. So that's why I really like a lot of it. But I love to use a lot of green onion. And I also like to add the green onion towards the end after the meat is done, because I don't want it to cook down to like a caramelized stage like I let the onions cook. Okay, now what I usually do is, sorry you hear that background noise, I wash, gotta be all loud. Okay, now what I usually do is just like make sure it's all blended in there together. You want to make sure the meat is warm. You know, I don't smash it too much, but I just want to make sure it's all blended in and no one's just going to be tasting one type of meat. I want all of this oil out of here. Make sure it's warm enough. It's kind of hot, but it's not too hot where it's burning me. So just make sure it's warm enough, before you start doing this. You don't want to burn yourself. Get the meat all incorporated in there together. You want that meat that just fell in the sink? Do you want it? You want it, Breeze? You want the meat that just fell in the sink? Do you want it? Huh? You want that piece of meat? Huh? Okay, now we're just gonna get the rice together. And really the only thing we need to do with the rice is just give it a little butter. You know, give it some butter and maybe a little salt. You really don't even need salt because the meat is already flavorful. So, give it a little butter. Using the same pan, that's fine. You don't have to clean it. You want it to be kind of greasy anyway, so it won't stick to the bottom. So the same pan you use to fry the ground meat, just use that pan for this. Okay, now we can mix our meat in. Okay, I'll turn it down. So good, y'all. Goodness. Oh. Make it slap somebody. You heard me? I'm not gonna do too much cooking it because I'm gonna finish it warming it up tomorrow. Oh, hot. Come on, do this taste test, girl.
What taste test?
Here. Here.
I'm not hungry right now, so I'm good.
Baby.
I ain't even get no meat in it.
Girl, go sit down. Yes, you did.
Give me a little in the bowl. Oh, here it is. Give me a little in the bowl.
Come on now, I ain't say all of that. Come here.
Come on, give me a little in the bowl.
No, you ain't Chris Nita. Come on, get going.
Alright, mama.
So good, girl. Huh?
You want me to turn on the room now?
Yes, please, King. Thank you. God gonna bless you. Oh, man. Goodness, Lord. Here, Black, come on, taste test.
I don't want it in my hand.
Well, here, just wash the spoon, though.
I'm gonna just stuff it.
Don't want it in your hand.
Put the spoon in the sink. Good?
Yeah.
Here, you want to taste test? Okay, first thing you want to do is get your cheese together. I have mozzarella, pepper jack, and cheddar cheese, the mild cheddar. And I'm cutting it up, and I'm gonna cut these here in smaller blocks here. Because these are the ones that I'm gonna use for the top. You want them to be smaller since you're using them just to go like inside the mac and cheese. And I also have some that I sliced for the cheese sauce, the same kind, but those I'm gonna make a cheese sauce with it. Okay. Okay, now I have the water going and it's really hot, so we're just gonna put the cheese sauce on right quick. We're gonna start that. So you have your butter. We're gonna put some butter in here. Need some more butter. Okay, just let the butter melt. Add our evaporated milk, just so our macaronis could be cheesy. Okay, you can add your salt. Sugar. Don't use too much pepper. You don't want your meal to be messed up. Add in all of this pepper. This pepper is very overpowering. It'll, I'm telling you. Okay, next we're gonna add in our Philadelphia cream cheese. Okay, since this water is boiling like crazy, we're just gonna go ahead on and add in our noodles as well. Okay. We're gonna use the elbow noodle. Like these best, and they always running out of these. I hate when they run out of these because I don't like the other ones. Okay, just give it a stir. know, and you're gonna let this cook for about 8 minutes. So make sure you keep track of the time. Matter of fact, where's my timer? I was using my phone. I don't know. Let's see. Set a timer or something. Because you don't want this to overboil. If you know, it will overboil because you still have to cook it in the oven. So you don't want it to overboil. You don't want mushy, ushy, gushy noodles. So you can do like 8 minutes or whatever. Okay, we have this going, and you can start adding your cheese pieces as well. All kind of goodness. Okay, start adding your pieces. Just completely melt it. You can put it on low and let it melt. Just keep checking it often. Okay. Put it on really low heat. Okay, y'all, my timer is going off. Let me stir this first. Okay, at this point you can go ahead on and add a little shredded cheese. It's just gonna get it even more cheesy. It's gonna be cheesy. You can see it's thickening up a little. You want to make sure everything is completely melted though. It's almost there. But I have it on low to medium heat, so because I don't want to burn the cheese sauce.
See how it's getting thicker, it's thickening up. Trying to get some of the lumps out. Speed the process up. Smash them so they can get done. That's that Philadelphia cream cheese. It's so hard to melt. I should have melted it before, but of course I'm rushing. Because if I would have just let this melt in the butter, I wouldn't be having this problem right now. So either way, it's still holding you up. So let this melt in the butter. Melt your Philadelphia cream cheese along with the butter. It's hard to melt with this cheese sauce inside of it. Okay, it's done as it's done and gonna get. Still have a few lumps in here, but it'll probably melt through the bacon. If not, it still tastes good. That's the. I don't. It's so good. This cheese sauce is good. It's really good. See, they're not too they're just right. They're not too mushy, not too hard. How you want it. You want it just right. But you don't want them to stay together like this in clumps. So added your garlic in here. And just add a little. You don't need a lot. I just like to add a little. I like the way it feels. It feels almost like rubbery, a soft rubbery feeling. And you know, that's how you want it to feel. You don't want it to be all mushy and too soft, because once you bake it, it's gonna be too soft and nobody's gonna like it. I'm not gonna tell you, but they're gonna talk about you behind your back. Girl, that macaroni was mushy. You know how people are. Everybody thinks they're the best cook. Every female thinks they're the best cook. And some males. But that's why I say there's no right and there's no wrong way. How you want to make yours. I'm just showing you how I make mine. And my family does. They come home. Everybody, not only my family. Alright, now we're going to pour our cheese sauce. Okay, give it a good stir. And it has thickened up. Okay, let's see if that's enough. Macaroni's cheesy, cheesy. This is how you want it, cheesy, cheesy. I want no dry macaroni. Tell me don't. Telling y'all, if y'all try it this way, y'all gonna love it. Blair. You can even use this as mac and cheese, to be honest. You know? You can use this as mac and cheese. Yeah, I like them to be cheesy, cheesy, cheesy. I also don't want them to be too dry. You want to make sure every noodle is saturated. Excuse the noise. I can't control the noise out there. No noodle left behind. No noodle left behind. All need to be saturated. See, look, a bunch is over here. Let's get this side. Might need to pick that up and flip that, because at the bottom they won't be cheesy. That's why I usually take my hands and get in there. I don't want everything to fall out. So I'm not using my hands. I usually put those gloves on and get in there. There's nothing get it like your hands, man. I'm telling you. Up from the bottom, flip them, get everything under there. If you don't do that, the bottom of your noodle is gonna be dry. They're gonna burn. They're gonna be dry.
Ooh, come on, let me have a piece. Oh. I didn't mean to see it like that.
I don't like my food, I don't expect nobody else to like it. If you're just doing mac and cheese for dinner, you know, you can make your cheese sauce, but you want to boil your noodles a little bit longer than 8 minutes because, you know, you want them to be fully cooked. Honestly, that's perfect. Even 8 minutes, that's perfect. I'm not gonna lie to you. Okay, now what we're gonna do next, we go. Why? You want to say secret? Crack. Not crack. I don't know, but it's the cheese. It's on the cheese, and it's nothing that you're allergic to. I know what you're allergic to. That's all cheese. That's all this is. Only cheese.
That is so good. Oh my gosh.
You know, that's what I mean. Chase it. Did you hear what they say? Did you hear what they say? They say it was good. Jesus. Cheesy. Oh, it's so good. Y'all want these macaroni? I'm telling y'all try this recipe. If y'all follow it to the T, y'all won't be disappointed. I'm telling you. I promise you. Follow this recipe to the T and you will not be disappointed. I'm telling you. You saw how I stood up there and made that cheese sauce, how I stirred it up. I stirred that cheese. I put my elbows in it. Oh, yes, I did. I labored with that cheese sauce, man. And the cheese sauce came out thick, lusciously thick. Yeah, baby. All right, now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put this in the oven tomorrow. I'm not gonna put it in the oven now. Put it in the oven tomorrow.
Okay, now here we have our melatonin. You want to make sure that you rinse these off really well. You know, I always rinse them off, even though I'm not going to eat the full melatonin like some people do. Some people just boil it all and mash it all up together, but I don't do that. So I'm going to wash the back of these, the outside of these, and I'm just going to cut them in half and stuff them. Okay, once the water start boiling, we go ahead on and start dropping them in. One fell. If it fall, that's okay. Pick it up and clean it off. Wash it off good. Some warm water, it'll be okay. Okay, you can either boil this for 45 minutes or until it's fork tender. You don't have to be like mushy gushy, but you want it to be fork tender. Okay, the water's boiling like crazy. They're about ready. They're pretty much fork tender. So I'm gonna leave them 5 more minutes and get them out. I don't want to leave them too much longer. Yeah, they're pretty much ready. I'll go ahead on and take them out. I went on ahead and removed the seed out of the middle off camera, and now I'm just showing you how you need to carefully remove the inside of the melatonin. And you want to go around slowly in a circular motion. You know, I just kind of scrape the sides. I don't dig too deep in it because you don't want to cut too deep in your melatonin. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to take a bowl or whatever you have available and your little strainer and put it on top of the bowl and strain all of that juice out of there. You don't want all of that juice in there. You can get much juice out as you can. It's really hard to get it out, but just do the best that you can. And you know, I'm just going to take and I'm going to put on some gloves and get in there and just like start mashing and try and push down, push as much water out as I can. As you can see, it looked like it's a very little. You know, when you take the inside of the stuff out, it looked like it's a very little, but surprisingly, once you're done, it make a lot. You know, it adds up to be a lot once you start mixing everything with it and the breadcrumbs and everything. You know, it turned out to be a lot. And if you can't get all of the water out, it's fine. I just try to get much as I can, but the breadcrumbs will help. That's a lot of water down there too. It's a lot. Wow. Look how much water it made. It almost filled the bowl up. Okay, now what I like to do first is saute my shrimp. I have to do that first.
I like my shrimp to have its own flavor. Also, I put a little Old Bay seasoning on it. Okay, this is good enough because they're going to finish cooking in with the rest of the stuff. Your celery. Okay, just let this cook. Okay, next we're going to add in our finely chopped ham, and I like my ham to be really fine. As you can see, the ham already come in diced pieces, but I take my food processor and I chop them up even more because I like my ham to be fine. You know, as well as my celery, I like my celery to be fine, and the onion too for my stuffed melatones. Okay, next what you're gonna do, you take and you add in your filling. You'll add in your filling that you took out of melatonin. Adding your melatonin filling. I just call it filling because I like to stuff mine. And you're gonna see what I mean, you know, when I say it. It looks like it's a very little, but when you're all done, it's gonna be enough to stuff those melatones. Sometimes I miss out on stuffing about 3 or 4, you know, but they're usually messed up anyway. Sometimes I always say, for instance, if I'm doing like 18 or 20 melatones, I'll buy like 25 or 26 and just do the 20, but use the rest of it, you know, to stuff the melatones. And this here's my Chef Papadon Seafood Magic here, using my Seafood Magic. Of course, my Tony Sanctuary, we're going to use that. Okay, y'all. You know, so this here is pretty much done, so you can add a little broth to it, and I'm adding a little chicken broth. I usually do shrimp stock, but I ran out of the stock. So add your breadcrumbs. You know, this is going to help with all of the water. You know, go ahead on and add your shrimp. And just let that cook. Let it simmer for a while. so good. I wish y'all can taste it. This is so easy, so simple, but yet so tasty. Okay, these here are my breadcrumbs I'm getting ready to put on there. This, y'all, I promise y'all, this is better than bell peppers. And I love my bell peppers. I always have and I always will. I really love my bell peppers, but these here, they are really good. I promise you they are good. I will not lie to you. They are good. It's so good. I will not lie to you. If you try this recipe Dawn's way and you follow it in the exact same order that I did it, your taste buds will love it. Okay, how you want to measure out 2 tablespoons of melted butter. Okay, we're going to do 1 cup of carrot syrup. And if you're making 2 pies, you can do double batch. Doesn't matter. Okay, get your butter in. Okay, you want it after that. And get your carrot syrup in. There we go. You know, you want to make sure you get all of the little drippings out of there. Get everything out. Get it all out. That carrot syrup sometimes is hard and it gets stuck back there. So you can just go ahead on and you can just whip this together if you want to, you know, but that's what I usually do. I just go ahead on and just stir this all together. Okay, after that you need 1 cup of brown sugar. Okay, after we're gonna add in the pecans. Okay, you just want to stir it all together and mix it well. And you don't have to use brown sugar if you don't have it. You can use white granulated sugar. It really doesn't matter. Or you can mix it. You can do half of brown, half of white. It's just whatever. Whatever you have in that pantry, you can use it. So you can set this aside and you want to crack your eggs. 3 eggs. I always crack them in a separate bowl because just in case a shell fall in, you can easily get it out. You don't have to worry about it getting lost in the pie. Put the eggs in. Teaspoon of vanilla extract. And if you can find maple extract, you can use that as well. But I couldn't find it, so I'm just using vanilla. Next, you want to add a pinch of salt. The salt is just going to bring out all of the flavors. It's not going to make it too salty. That's why you're going to add a little. And also, you can add in some cornstarch or self-rising flour. And the reason you add that is so that the pie won't be runny in the middle. Now, if you like your pie runny in the middle, don't add it. You know, I have a friend, she liked her pie to be runny in the middle. So she always asks me to make a pie and I don't add it because she wants that runniness in the middle. If you want to cover it, that's all you have to do. You know, cover it like this. Or they have the little covers that comes, you can buy it. And it fits right on perfect. And that way, if anything boils over, this will protect it as well. Okay, we have our little turkey here. I'm trying to see how many pounds this is. If I'm not mistaken, I think it's like 13 pounds. But I don't know. But anywho, we're just gonna get the little bird ready. So, I don't know. I think it's 13 pounds. I don't know, but it's a nice size anyway. So let's just start cutting it open, because I'm not about to waste my time trying to see how many pounds this turkey is. Okay, and yes, I do. I like to put foil down in my sink before I just put my turkey down there. Even though my sink is clean, you know, I don't care. I don't want my turkey to touch this sink. I just don't. So I always use a piece of foil just to put down there, just so my turkey can sit on the foil. And I don't have to worry about it touching the sink or anything. I don't know. I'm like that. Even though I clean my sink out, I'm still, you know, that way. So I'm just looking at the turkey now, and this here's the little chicken gizzards. You can save that for a later time, or you can just take it and clean it and put it in a pan, you know, when you're doing your turkey, and you get some good flavor from these chicken gizzards. So you can use it for something else. You can boil that and you can put it in your cornbread dressing for your stuffing, because I use chicken gizzards store-bought in my stuffing. You can add those if you want to, but I don't know what I'm going to do with these just yet anyway. So, okay, back to the turkey. I always pop that little thing out. You know, a lot of people leave it in, but it doesn't make sense, because when you bag this turkey, it's not going to pop up anyway, because the bag is going to be in the way. You know, I'm just cleaning my turkey out. I'm washing the inside of it. The opening. Just wash the inside of it really good. . 'Cause You see this little thing right here? This thing is so hard to take off. I mean, it is hard to take off. If I can get this turkey to just be together like this when I'm baking it, but it's just the inside. When I first started doing turkeys, because I never really did turkeys, I was ripping the whole, I'm almost broke the turkey in half. And that was the turkey neck I just took out there. You know, I almost broke it in half trying to get this little thing out. I was like, how do you do this? But I found out that you take and you pull it out, you pull one side to the left and the other side to the right, and it's just going to come out. So, and you know, I'm just cutting all the fat off this turkey. I don't want all of that fat on this turkey. So, I'm cutting it all off. These little turkeys, y'all, it's amazing how they shape like a little heart. You know, I did a turkey cake before, and it's amazing because you can just cut it into a heart and just start shaping it like a turkey. Or you can, I said I was going to try and use a heart pan. Look at this, cut all of that fat off. You don't need that long piece of fat. I took that little thing out too. It's supposed to pop up when your turkey is done. But just go ahead on and rinse your baby off good. You know, rinse this little bird off really good. Rinse her off well. You know, turn it to the side. Get all under her, the wings. I say her. I don't know if it was a boy or a girl, whatever it was. Just rinse it off good. You know, get inside there. Let that water run through until you see it run clear and not red anymore. When you first rinse the inside out that hole, you're going to see a lot of redness. You know, just wash it until you stop seeing that red. You don't want to see all of that red and it running out of your turkey. Turkey, remove it. You know, you're gonna take and remove this, and you want to pat it dry. You don't want to leave your turkey really wet. Pat it dry. You know, I'm gonna stick some butter inside of it. I use a lot of butter on my turkey. I use a lot of butter inside, and I also use that injection, that buttery injection. And I'm just stepping all of this seasoning in here, trying to get it all in this hole. That hole is really small, so it's kind of hard to get your stuff in there. The only thing I don't like is I like to stuff my turkey after it's done. Like some people put their stuffing in with their turkey like while it's just not done. It's just still looking like that. I don't do that. I wait till my turkey is done in the bag, and then I pull it out of the bag and I stuff it with that with stuffing. I take a little stuffing and I pull all of that out that I'm putting in. I go ahead on and stuff it as much as I can, and then I let it bake in the oven with nothing over it, like brown. You know how you bake the end of it. Bake it at the end. You remove it out the bag and just continue to bake it. That's when I put my stuffing in there. And I'm just putting butter all over this turkey. I mean, you got to get all in there. Get all inside of it. All in the crevices. Just go ahead on and butter that baby good. You know, butter it real, real good. You don't want no dry turkey. You want your turkey to be buttery, buttery. Because turkey is normally really dry. So if you don't put enough butter, you know, you're going to have a dry turkey. And here I'm letting my daughter pour some oil in my hand. And the reason I'm doing that is because, you know, if you use oil, it'll stick better to your chicken, your turkey, or whatever. It doesn't matter. Some people may look and say, oh, that's just too much. You know, you're using all of that butter, then you're using oil. But that's not too much. That's olive oil. Because one thing you have to keep in mind, that turkey is already dry. You know, it's a dry turkey. That's why, look, get all underneath the bottom. That's right, get under the bottom of that turkey. All in between every corner. But you know, turkey is already normally dry. And if you don't butter your turkey, it's really dry. And no one wants that. No one wants a dry turkey. Because, you know, that's why I use the injector as well. Because that, I mean, once you use that injector and let it sit, I'm telling you, it gives it a good flavor. You know, I never did turkey. I started doing turkey like a year ago. I would always do turkey wings, but I did turkey one time for the first time last year, and I fell in love with it. And the reason why I never liked turkey, because every time I went to someone's house for Thanksgiving, their turkey was always so dry to the point where you couldn't swallow it, like Popeye's biscuits. You know, Popeye's biscuits are so dry, you can't even swallow it, but not the Popeyes in Mississippi. Y'all, if y'all visit Picayune, Mississippi, go to that Popeyes. Those biscuits are so buttery. But those biscuits in Louisiana, you know, the Popeyes, those biscuits choke you, man. You need a drink after you take one bite. That's how people turkey used to be tasting to me, and that's why I never liked turkey. But, you know, one year, I had a turkey donated to me. And I said, well, I'm not going to let it go to waste. I'm going to, you know, see what I can do with it. So I went on YouTube and I'm like, okay, I followed a couple of recipes, but no one showed how to inject it with the buttery flavor. I just saw that at Walmart and thought of doing it on my own. And when I did that, that turkey was so good. You know, and here's your little turkey rub here. And you might want to put on a mask when you're doing this part because you will start sneezing all over. Matter of fact, I put on a mask when I first started pouring it in this measuring cup because I don't want to be sneezing all over the food, and seasoning always gets to me. It always gets to me and I start sneezing. So I just went on ahead and put on a mask before I even started doing this. I'm just letting the air out this bag. And let me tell you something about these seasoning, y'all. You have your paprika, your smoked paprika, and your sage. You don't want to forget your sage because it's everything. The paprika is going to give it a color, but if you add your smoked paprika, it's going to change the flavor a little. So if you don't want your flavor to change, don't add that smoked paprika. And don't forget that sage because your sage is all the flavor. And I'm just adding my turkey rub to my turkey, and my turkey is so crooked, y'all. I don't know what's up with it. It sits kind of crooked, and look, I'm taking everything out. Oh, silly me, I should have put some seasoning in there before I even stuffed it with all of these with this bell pepper and onion and stuff, but it's okay. I'll push it on back in there. But you want to make sure you season your turkey really good. And I always season my turkey kind of heavy too because, turkey is turkey. It don't have a flavor. So go ahead on, get all in there. You see how I went all in there? Just get all in the crevices of that turkey and, season that baby good. Treat it right. Treat it right. Season it good. Pick it up. Go ahead on. Turn it around on the back. Season the butt of the turkey. Even though I don't think nobody gonna eat the back of it because there ain't nothing but a big bone. But anyway, still go ahead on and season it. Put a little seasoning on that baby. And you see how crooked it sit? I told y'all, that turkey is just sitting crooked. I don't know what's up with that thing. Okay, this here's my ham, y'all. And I usually just take it out of the pack, and just put it in a pan. This is the ham that's already sliced too. And I start putting I use ground cloves and cinnamon and of course the brown sugar on top. But I still season it with brown clove and cinnamon before I even start putting the mustard and the brown sugar on top. This the ground clove here. I don't want to use too much. I don't want to go overboard with that. Okay, and here we just have our mustard here, and yeah, I gotta shake it. It's a little watery. But anyway, it doesn't matter what kind of mustard you use. It really doesn't matter. You know, it doesn't matter if of the name brand or whatever. You know, you just put that mustard on there and you just go ahead on and baste it all around this ham. And what this does is just help the brown sugar stick to the ham. That's all it does. You know, if you don't put the mustard, the brown sugar is really not going to stick. It's just going to fall off. So when you put that mustard, you know, it's going to help it stick. And you're not going to taste this. Don't think that your ham is going to taste like a bunch of mustard, because I use so much. I use a lot of mustard. And my ham, you can't even taste it, you know. Once you cook this ham, it's really good. You can't even taste it. All the flavors just blend in together. It's really good. Right here, I'm just gonna change my glove out. It's too messy. It's too much on there. So I'm gonna go ahead on and put on a fresh, clean glove. You go ahead on and start packing your brown sugar all over, you know, and you can just pack it all over. Sometimes it's a little hard to get it on the bottom, but you can get it on there. A lot of it will fall into the pan, you know, and that's okay too. As long as you get most of it, you know, where it's supposed to be, that's fine. To do is we're gonna start adding on the sliced pineapples and cherries. We're just gonna start adding that on. Put it in the middle with the hole because it's gonna always be too open. The hole is wide, like the hole is gonna be wide. And guys, this does absolutely nothing at all. It doesn't change the taste of the ham. It doesn't give it a different flavor. It's just pretty decoration, that's all. It just makes the ham look very pretty. And it's just the old tradition that everybody do. My mom used to do this when I was a little girl. I was 2 years old and I can remember my mom sticking these things on the ham. And I would always say, ooh, that's so pretty. And when it was done, I would try and eat the cherries and the pineapple. That's all I was worried about. And I have a niece like that now. She's, that's all she loved the cherries. She get a big slice of ham, and she get some cherries and a few pineapples, and she eat those right along with her ham. So they do have some people that really like the taste of it, but once it's baked, I don't really like the taste of it. Now, when I was a little girl, I used to enjoy it, but I don't know. It's really not that good to me now. Now, as far as the juices that's coming from the pineapples and the cherries, yes, those will give the ham a good flavor, but not the actual cherries or the sliced pineapples. But that juice, it sure will. I use that juice to make my base. Okay, now we're making our sauce, and here's your butter. You want to put your butter in and just let your butter melt. So after your butter has melted, go ahead on and add your brown sugar and stir it all in. Mix it in together. Make sure it's blended well before you go on to the next step. And I think I used a cup and a half. Yeah, I used a cup and a half of brown sugar. But honestly, you can use 2 cups. You can use however many cups you want to use. But, I think it was a cup and a half of brown sugar. Now after it has blended all in together, you can go ahead on and move on to your next step. So you can take and add in your you can add your honey. Go ahead on and pour your honey in. You just want to stir it up good. And this is your pineapple juice. That's why, you save your pineapple juice from the can. You also save that cherry juice because you're also going to use a little cherry juice as well. So you have your pineapple juice and your cherry juice. And, those mixtures that's coming together, that's going to be really good when you put it in the bottom of that pan. Look, I'm adding more sugar. Okay, you want to start off adding just a very little oil in the bottom of the pot. And the reason you want to add this oil because you don't want your root to stick to the bottom of the pot. Especially this type of pot. I don't like these pots. Honestly, I really don't. They don't have, it's not a non-skid pot, a non-slip pot, whatever they call it. I like those other pots. But this here, you have to add some oil. And also you want to add your butter. I know you add your oil, but you need your butter for the flavor. Okay, one very, very important thing that you want to keep in mind is having your oven turned off. That's why my gumbo is usually the last thing that I do, and I do it in the morning. Go ahead on and add your seasoning now. I do my gumbo in the morning, early in the morning, once I'm done cooking everything. Once I'm done baking everything. Yeah, the same cooking everything. But you want that stove to be off for a while. because sometimes even when you turn it off, that heat is still rising. So, I remember one time when I was married, I was younger, just getting married, and I was married then. My ex-husband had brought some shrimp. Oh God, it was so huge. He used to love lots of shrimp and he wanted them to be big. So he spent so much money on shrimp, and my mother-in-law told me, she said, don't start that gumbo now with that stove on, with that oven on, don't start it. So I was like, oh, I think it'll be okay, and go ahead on and stir it, and then after you stir it, you can go ahead on and start adding in your okra. So, back to that, I was like, it'll be okay, and I was hard-headed, young, not knowing any better. So I cooked that pot of gumbo on top of that, on the stove while the oven was still on. And the next day, I took that gumbo out, and I mean, it looked like a bubble bath. They had so many bubbles at the top. So if you see your gumbo with bubbles at the top, it is no good, honey. Throw it away. It is not worth it. Seafood poisoning is nothing nice. That's why I stress to you, keep those shrimp and crabs on ice when you go shopping. Keep it on ice. Just get that ice chest. It's the little foam one. It's very cheap. And keep it on ice until you get home, because even when you're peeling your shrimp, keep it on ice. They go bad so fast. And like once you're done peeling it, go ahead on and put it in the freezer. Not the refrigerator, but the freezer. Keep those things as cold as possible. Okay guys, you want to stir it. When you stir, make sure you are getting the bottom of that pan, because you don't want this root to stick to the bottom of the pan. So every time you stir, scrape the bottom of that pan. Give it one more stir and start adding your shrimp stock slowly. And also another thing with my gumbo, I cook my gumbo on very, very low heat, between 2 and 3, because I don't want to burn the bottom for one, but I like my gumbo to simmer and take its time and cook. Okay, you can turn the fire down, and as you add your stock, you can add some seasoning. That's the Creole seasoning, the Italian seasoning. It's come out too slow, I don't have time for that. What I usually do is I add a little shrimp stock, then I add my seasoning, then I let it cook like 10 minutes, then I add a little shrimp stock and a little more seasoning. Then I let it cook 10 minutes, and then I do it again. I keep repeating that step until the pot is full. I don't like adding all of the shrimp stock at one time. Okay, here I go, adding a little more shrimp stock. After my shrimp stock, I'm gonna start adding the seasoning. Just repeat the steps with the same seasoning. You just add it. Just keep repeating those steps. That way, if you pour one big huge pot and fill it all the way to the top, you may just over season, because you might be putting too much, because you think, okay, the pot is large, I need a lot of seasoning. So if you add little at a time, you can just season and taste as you go, to make sure you're not adding too much salt. Like I said, I'm just going to repeat the same steps over and over until I have enough gumbo in the pot, and it doesn't matter. It's however much you want to make. If you want to make a large pot, if you want to make you can even stop here. I mean, this is enough, but I'm going to keep going. As you can see, I still have a lot of thickness to the gravy, so I'm just gonna keep going until I'm not gonna reach the tip of it like the way at the top, because you also have to keep in mind that you need to leave room for your crabs, your smoked and hot sausages, and your shrimp. You know, as you put them in there, the gumbo is gonna rise further to the top, so you want to make sure you have enough room for that. But you know, just keep repeating the same steps until you know you reach your desired amount of gumbo in the pot. Okay, y'all, these are my hot sausages, and I am sorry. I don't know what happened to the footage where I show how to take it out of the link, the casing link, and roll it into a ball, but it's pretty easy. And after that, you want to take and freeze them so that they can keep the shape of the ball. You can use the links or the patties. Honestly, the links are better, but I had actually brought some patties because they were out of the links everywhere. You know, during COVID, you can't find nothing. But I went back to the store for something else and ended up finding the links. And you also want to have paper towel ready, because I'm telling you, this stuff is super, super greasy. And you need to fry this. It is an absolute must that you fry the hot sausages as well as the smoked sausages. You don't want to put that in your gumbo without frying it, neither one of them. Well, the hot sausages just won't work. You have to fry it to keep the shape of the ball. But as far as the smoked sausage, you don't want to just throw that in your gumbo and let it cook, because all of the grease is gonna absorb into your gumbo. You don't want greasy gumbo. What you do is fry everything separately, and then you put it in towards the end, about the same time as you would put your seafood in. That way you won't have a big huge greasy pot of gumbo, because the longer you cook it, the more grease come out. And as you can see, I'm rolling some of the balls back up, because I took them out the freezer and let it sit for a while, and it starts to lose its shape a little bit. Another thing to keep in mind is you don't want to really take and stir the balls. What you can do is just kind of move them around and flip them, because if you stir them, it'll kind of lose the shape, and you also don't want them to stick together. So just flip them around, don't stir. See how I'm moving them around now? It's because they're done. You only want to move them around like this when they're done, because if you move them when you just put them in, they're going to be flat as a pancake. And now I'm just using paper towel to get all of this grease up. That's ridiculous right there. That's why I only eat this, like I would say, maybe twice a year. Once for my gumbo and Thanksgiving, once for my gumbo and Christmas, and maybe I'll have like a patty throughout the year, because they also have the patties where you can make hot sausages po' boy, a hot sausage sandwich on bun. So I would have it sometimes, but this stuff here is not healthy for you at all. So don't make this an everyday thing, eating stuff that makes that much grease like that. You don't want that. That's not healthy at all. You see how I'm patting them? I'm trying to sop up all of the grease that I can out of these things. These things are ridiculously greasy. I'm not pushing down hard, but I'm turning them and patting as many as I can, as much as I can. And that's what I do, just to get the oil out. Even if I make it out of a patty and have a hot sausage bun or hot sausage on French, this is what I do to the patty. I try and get much of the oil out as I can. You're not gonna get all of it out, trust me. And that's why I put this in my gumbo last. This is like the last thing to go in, because I don't want it to continue to cook and create more oil, because that's what will happen. It'll just cook and keep creating the oil. So I put this in last, this as well as the sausages. I put it all in last. See, but this here is all the oil that you need. You know, you don't want your gumbo to be too greasy, and that's why I don't put that much oil, because I know it's still going to create grease from your sausages, your smoked sausages and your hot sausages. So there's no need to add oil. And believe me, you know, people may look and say, oh God, that's unhealthy. And yes, it is. I do agree 100%. But in your gumbo, this little oil that's coming from the smoked sausages and your hot sausages, after you have make sure you got the excess oil from it, that little oil is gonna give that gumbo the best flavor. And that's really all the oil you need. That's why, you know, I add the 2 sticks of butter, and then at the beginning I add the 2 sticks of butter in a little oil, just so the root won't get stuck to the bottom of the pot, because it will stick to the bottom if you don't add that oil, you know. But you don't need anything else but that, unless you're gonna have one big pot of greasy gumbo, and that is not what you want. Okay, now you want to make sure that you fry your sausages, because if you just put them in the gumbo, it's gonna be it's gonna make too much grease. And that's why I fry these and I put it in at the end. I don't even let it cook in the gumbo, because if you let it cook in the gumbo, it's gonna continue to make that grease. And I don't want all of that grease in my gumbo. I put the crab and shrimp in, and once the gumbo is done, then I'll set these on paper towel, let it get some of the grease out, and then I'll put this in the pot. You know, I keep it on the warmer, but I don't cook it, because when you cook it, the grease is just going to continue to come through. Go ahead and add the shrimp and the crab. And then I'm gonna add the sausage. Okay, y'all. After the shrimp and the crab have cooked about, I would say 10 minutes. Sometimes I don't even cook it. I just put it in there and let the heat continue to do its job. Or another thing, if you're gonna keep your gumbo on top of a warmer, don't even turn that fire on with those shrimps, because you don't want these shrimps to be mealy and too soft. So you want to make sure you keep that in mind. You know, if you are going to keep this pot of gumbo on a warmer, which you should, if you do this on Thanksgiving morning, or even if you did it the day before and then stuck it in the fridge or the freezer, I usually stick mine in my deep freezer, because it's not going to freeze that well anyway. So I stick it in the deep freezer and I take it out and put it on the warmer. So I just put the shrimp in there and let it cook on the warmer, because you have to keep that in mind. You know, if you cook these shrimp, you know, and then you put the gumbo up, and then the next day you're rewarming that gumbo. You know, those shrimp and crabs, they're going to cook to nothing. The crabs won't have any meat in it, and the shrimp would just be nasty, too soft. And you don't want that. So, you know, you can just take your shrimp, put it in there, and just freeze your gumbo. Or you can just leave your shrimp in the fridge, put that pot of gumbo in the fridge with the shrimp or the freezer. Usually I don't have rum in my fridge, so I put it in the freezer in the deep, that way at the top, where it's going to stay cold and not freeze, because this gumbo needs to be cold. If this gumbo is not cold, you cannot leave gumbo out talking about, oh, it needs to warm down before I put it in the fridge. No, honey, you are going to have a spoiled pot of gumbo. You cannot leave this seafood out talking about you need to let it cool down first. No, as soon as you're done with that gumbo, you need to put it up. And the next day you can go ahead on and keep it on the warmer and then put everything in there. That way it'll just be warm and your shrimp won't be all mushy and gushy and nasty. So keep that in mind. Don't spoil your pot of labor. Don't do it. Don't spoil that pot of gumbo. Your husband gonna be mad like mine was. So good.